A very good evening to one and all. I welcome you all to this news analysis initiative. Okay, today we will start with the quote of the day, which is educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. This means that true education is not just about filling the brain with facts or developing skills. It also requires nurturing values, empathy, character, and morality, all sorts of things. Okay, so what this quote is about is you can use it in ethics, governance, to highlight that public servants need not only technically competence but also empathy, integrity, and emotional intelligence is also very much important. So it is not only about aptitude but also attitude. Okay, the first news for the day is at G20 summit, Modi proposes new initiatives on health and skills. Okay, so first of all, this is the first time in Africa this initiative has been happened. First time G20 summit, and this topic is related to your general studies to international relations. Okay, so why it is in news? First, G20 is a key global governance forum. Okay, and first time it is held in Africa, so it is very much relevant for India and Africa relations. And in this, India has proposed various initiatives with respect to climate change, technology, global health, and also about skilling. Okay, so that is what about. And the other point you have to notice, US have boycotted this G20. Okay, because due to the certain tensions with South Africa, US have from any officials from US has not attended this meeting. Okay, the next one is new trilateral initiative. This is with respect to Australia, Canada, and India technology and innovation partnership that has been announced in this G20 summit. And India has said that it is going to skill around 1 million Africans under the G20 Africa Skills Multiplier Initiative. Okay, and the other things if you take is India also has left out for like lot of outreach programs, like it held meetings with leaders of Australia, Canada, Angola, Singapore. Okay, so India is now seen as a bridge between global north and global south, and also India Pacific democracies. So you can take this at India is now acting as a bridge. This Australia, Canada, India trilateral partnership. Now what this is about is the focus areas are critical and emerging technologies and clean energy collaboration, AI, and digital public infrastructure, and also supply chain. So all these are the focus areas with respect to this new trilateral partnership. Now with respect to Africa centered initiatives, the next one, global health and traditional knowledge. So there is this global healthcare and global traditional knowledge. So what they have told is G20 global healthcare response team will be constituted, and this is to ensure future pandemic preparedness. And we must also come up with something known as global traditional repository to preserve indigenous medicines. Okay, to preserve indigenous medicines and eco living practices. So this is what is this traditional knowledge about, and this also aligns with India's Ayurveda and Ayush things. Okay, so this is next, the climate and environmental proposal is we have also included this G20 declaration on climate change that has been taken, and critical minerals circulative initiative. This is also taken care. Here it is focusing on recycling and sustainable mining. Okay, these are the major points with respect to critical mineral circulatory initiative. Then we have also another thing known as countering drug terror nexus. Okay, what is this drug terror nexus? Now our Prime Minister has specifically said that this fentanyl trafficking is now flagged as a public health threat. Okay, public health threat, and it is also serving as a social destabilizer. because all the youth are getting addicted to the drug. Okay, and we must also curtail this terror financing channels. And the last but not the least, the integral humanism. This was the key word that was used by our Prime Minister. Now, who proposed this ideology in the initial thing is, it is given by Deen Dayal Upadhyay. Okay, and it is about harmonizing Western material progress and Indian spiritual values. Okay, it is the harmonizing both Western material things and Indian spiritual ideas. So both the things are taken care, and the principles, if you take into, there are around 3 principles. The first one is uplift of last person, or you can say it as Antyodaya. Next, economy should be rooted in human needs, not on wants but human needs. Next, the third one is sustainability, or sustainability and balance with nature. Okay, so these are the key 3 principles with respect to integral humanism, and you can use this in your international relations, and also particularly with respect to India-Africa relations also you can use this. And multilateral organizations or international organizations, in that area this is very much important. Okay, now next article for the day is COP30. Actually the summit has come into over, so now we have to look into the details about it. The first one is two major proposals, and those are non-binding. Okay, they are non-binding. The first one is to halt and reverse deforestation and also we have to focus on afforestation programs. Okay, to reverse deforestation is nothing but afforestation, and we must also take a roadmap to transition away from fossil fuels in a just, orderly and equitable manner. Okay, so these are the 2 non-binding roadmaps that is given. Next, they have come up with a consensus agreement which is known as Global Multi-RAW. Okay, this is a consensus document, and this consensus document says that we have to implement the Article 9 of the Paris Agreement. Article 9 of Paris Agreement should be implemented. This is what this Article 9 is about. This requires that developed nations should mobilize funds to help developing countries transition to clean energy and adapt to climate impacts. Okay, so that is what is this. It is about the climate financing by developed countries to developing countries. Okay, next, the problem is developed countries told that we need to come up with explicit timelines to transition away from fossil fuels, but developing countries are resisting, and they told that fixed fossil fuel timelines cannot be taken up. So that was also told here, because the energy transitions must consider equity, developmental needs, and also adequate finance and technology transfer is also necessary for this transition. So that is what is told. And the third point is they have broadened the climate finance. The climate finance now include both public as well as the private financing. So that is also told in this. Then these are the other 3 important programs they came with. The first one is the just transition, which we discussed yesterday, where employees, those who are transferring from fossil fuels to non-renewable energy. So it is about the jobs. Okay. The next one is the loss and damage because of the climate impacts that we are already facing, disasters and stuffs. Okay. The next one is the clean technology transfer, where developed countries need to help developing countries in those aspects. And these 2 are the specific programs which were launched in this COP30. The first one is the 2-year work program on climate finance, and the other one is the Global Implementation Accelerator. These two programs have been launched here. The first one, 2-year work program, they say that we need to develop new frameworks okay, and to including how much developed nations must provide and how this financing should be distributed across mitigation, adaptation and loss and damage. So that is what is this 2 years program about. And global implementation accelerator is a new mechanism to speed up climate action, okay, and they will be holding a high level dialogue next year. So that is what is told. And the main purpose of this is to close the gap between the commitments that were made at the COPs and the actual reality. So that is what is this global implementation accelerator, okay. These are the whole things that you should be knowing from today's article related to COP 30. The next article, this is Kerala backs second wave of nurse migration to Germany. So this article is like, you can use this as an example in GS1, where with respect to human geography, skilled migration that you can use. That is one thing. And the other one is bilateral cooperations and mobility agreements in GS2, international relations. The next article is, major hurdle will be to chip away at the 90,000 pending cases in the Supreme Court. This article was given by the designated Chief Justice of India. Okay, so he told that our Indian judiciary is burdened around 90,000 cases are pending in Supreme Court alone. So that is what is told here, and it is majorly because of the chronic burden and the systemic delays. So that is the major reason that we are having such a pending cases. And and he also added that there is something known as a trickle down effect. So what is this trickle down effect? Trickle down effect means there are cases where it asks about the question of law or interpretation of constitution. Okay, so there are cases which are related to question of law or interpretation of constitution, where you need to constitute a constitution bench. Okay, now there are other cases which are related to these particular question of law cases. Thousands of cases are related to this particular question of law cases. So that is also creating the trickle down effect. So he says that immediately we have to constitute these constitution benches with 7 or 9 judges and speed up the matters, so that these we can come up to a resolution of these 1,000 cases which are pending. Okay, next he told that the third reason why there is high pendency is the litigants, that is one who wanted to approach the judiciary, they bypass the High Court and they directly approach the Supreme Court, and that is also one of the reason why there is high pendency in Supreme Court. So that was also told. And he told the fourth mechanism that we can prevent these kind of pendency is we have to go for alternate dispute resolutions, that is mediations or arbitration. We have to go into such manner rather than finding a solution only through judiciary. We have to go through these ADR mechanisms. So usually we try to write the reasons for pendency in cases. We have like a definite format, but the reasons that are given here was very useful, especially this these 2 points, this constitution bench and litigants are bypassing High Court. These 2 points are very unique, and it is told by the designated Chief Justice of India, Justice Surya Kant. So you can definitely make use of this in your mains answer. Okay, the next article is Collegium cleared 93 names for High Court judges during my tenure, and it was told by CJI Gawai. Okay. Now, what this article comes to tell us is, the first one is this shows us that the continuity of transparency is being done. What is this continuity of transparency? Initially, the collegium discussions are not released in public, but however, in recent scenarios, like from when the former Chief Justice Chandrachud, when he was there, he actually released these recommendations that was meeting held within the collegium. So that transparency is still continued. That is one thing. Next, the social diversity. Okay, the social diversity in high court appointments, initially it was very limited, but now the representation of SCs, STs and OBC communities has increased. However, the problem is still they remain in a single digit. Okay, so that though there is increase in the social diversity with the judges, however the problem is they are still in single digit. That is one thing. Then the third problem is collegium approves only about half of the names that are sent by the high courts and the state governments, because they send recommended candidates to the collegium, and the collegium discuss and through after background checks, and they will recommend the names to the president. So this is how it happens, and out of the names that are sent into the collegium, only 50% are being approved. That is the third one. Next, the fourth problem is this is something known as judicial lineage, you can say, or you can also say as nepotism. Okay, it is still persistent in judicial appointments. Because candidates related to the sitting judges, though it is really reduced, but still you can see that selection is actually it is still there. That is the fourth point. Okay, however this is reducing to an extent, and there is a gradual democratization of appointments are also happening. Okay, so these are the 4 points with respect to this collegium cleared 93 names. Okay, so it is the transparency, the social diversity in the appointment of judges has increased, and out of the candidates that are given, only 50% of the names are being cleared by the collegium, and still this judicial lineage or candidates related to the sitting judges are still present. Okay, that is what this article. Okay, the next article. Yesterday we saw about the four labor codes. Today an article came about the analysis of it. The first analysis, okay, we will see. This article holds some 4 points. We will look into this. The first one is the compliance burden, because all of a sudden we got like an immediate implementation of labor codes happened, because yesterday, like 21st November onwards, these labor codes are effective and there is no grace period. Okay, this sudden enforcement makes the compliance very difficult, especially when still the firms are waiting for detailed rules and regulations. Okay, so that is the first point, the compliance burden. The second point is it is burdening the small enterprises and the service sectors, because initially these labor codes applied mainly to factories, it was not applied to the service sectors. Okay, so that is the problem. So this raises fears of disruption, or it might also lead to regulatory overload. Okay, regulatory overload can also happen. This is what is the second one. First, initially labor inspectors role is to go and check these factories or industries whether they are complying to the codes that are given. However, their major role was like fault finding. Okay, and they put penalties. Okay, now they have changed this inspector's name to facilitators and inspectors. Now what this facilitator and inspector mean? Now while the same inspector is now a facilitator, they will help the firms in complying to the rules and regulations. So that is what this facilitator mean. So we have to look into how effective this facilitator is going to be implemented. So that is the third point. Next, the fourth one is labor is in concurrent list. Okay, so when something is in a concurrent list, we need a sincere and a strong cooperation between center and state. The next article for the day: dark patterns stay for consumers, gig staff post self auditor. So yesterday we saw about the dark patterns. So today what happened is, this Center for Responsible AI, they have come up with a report, and they say that it is not only consumers but also the gig workers, they are also being affected by the dark patterns. The first one we will see. Okay, what are these dark patterns in gig workers? The first one is the false urgency. False urgency means if you take a Ola driver, okay, now that they will get a notification if anyone requests for a ride. Now they will be given like only 10 seconds or 15 seconds to accept it. However, they have to accept it within that limited period. If they are not accepting it, they will not be getting any further rights. That is kind of a false urgency, that within that limited period of time they have to choose it. Next, second one is known as wage concealment. They will not be knowing about how much money they are going to get for that particular ride. That is a wage concealment. Next, excessive monitoring. What is this excessive monitoring? They are being continuously tracked. Okay, that is also known as the excessive monitoring. The fourth one, they are blocking. These are unfair deactivation. All of a sudden a person will be blocked from that platform without any reasons, telling him why the person is not able to accept any ride from the platform, or why he is blocked all of a sudden. So these are some of the dark patterns that are followed in gig workers. Okay, and they also told another point, which is a lack of transparency. Okay, this lack of transparency because of algorithmic opacity. Okay, opacity is like completely blocked, you don't know what is happening inside. How what is it about is how the wages are set. Okay, how the decisions are being made. No one knows what this algorithm is about, and why the deactivations happen. So this opacity also add burden to this gig workers. The next article is data driven governance, a key pillar for Viksit Bharat. Okay, and this was given by CAG. That's why I picked this news. There was three keywords. The first one is expanding access. Expanding access means government programs must reach every citizen. Okay, especially the poor and the vulnerable persons. It should be reached, because developed India cannot exist if large sections of the society lack healthcare, education, social security things. So the civil servants must ensure that schemes actually reach people. Okay, so that is what it was in the first point. The second point is data driven governance. Because the government's decision should be based on accurate data, not no guessworking. Okay, because using real time data will help to plan budgets, track the beneficiaries, how the project is being implemented, or if there are any kind of leakages, and also to improve service delivery. So data driven governance is very much important. Okay, and it also promotes transparency, accountability, and efficient use of public money. Okay, this is the second point. Next, the third one is strengthening institutional maturity. What is strengthening institutional maturity? Because government institutions handle finances. Okay, so like from budgeting to audit and expenditure, all these things are happening. So we have to maintain proper accounting and prevent wasteful spending, and we need to have strong internal controls and better audit systems. So that is what these 3 points about data driven governance. The next article is high cost, poor training deepen India's stinging snake bite toll. Okay. Yesterday we saw that Kerala has notified snake and envenomation as a notifiable disease, and today this article came. So why this one is very important? The first thing, World Health Organization classified this snake bite as a neglected tropical disease. Okay, the first point. Now India now constitutes around or accounts for nearly half of worldwide deaths. Okay, this shows that there are systemic gaps in healthcare access, emergency response and reporting. Okay, now the problem is there is a huge financial burden, because in public hospitals it is called the treatment cost around rupees 4,000, closer to approximately 4,000, whereas in private it cost around 30,000. Okay, so it causes huge financial burden. And one more thing is, this delayed access to anti-venom is the major cause of this mortality, or they result in long-term disability. Okay, so this is also important. Next, the major problems or the key gaps that was identified are the lack of inadequate training of healthcare providers. Then sometimes they are relying on the faith healers, and there is poor hospital accessibility, and that is also one of the reason, because snake where can you see, it is somewhere closer to any forested areas or stuff, and there you don't have these primary health centers, or anti-venoms are not present in that area. The next article is the what is the Meghdadu Dam project dispute. Okay, first we will look into the history of this. The first is this Meghdadu project is in Kaveri river, and it is an interstate river. Okay, and Karnataka is the upper riparian state and Tamil Nadu is the lower riparian state. Okay, now what happened if it is a riparian, means the river starts from Karnataka and it reaches the sea in Tamil Nadu. So that is the upper riparian and the lower riparian. Okay, and the major problem with this Kaveri river is monsoon variability, because during monsoons Tamil Nadu is predominantly dependent on this Kaveri river, whereas Karnataka's drinking water is dependent on Kaveri. So that creates the first problem. Next, irrigation demands. Okay, then the third one is drinking water demands, especially Karnataka says about the Bengaluru water demands. Okay, and for Tamil Nadu, during June and September it is a very lean season, and Tamil Nadu will be depending on Kaveri during that season. Kaveri Water Disputes Tribunal, it was around 2007, it allocated water between the states. Okay, and they also set like monthly release obligations, like monthly this much water should be released. Okay, and in 2018 I think so, yes, in 2018 Supreme Court said, actually modified these allocations, saying that Karnataka can have an additional to meet Bengaluru's drinking water needs. Okay, and to also they set up something known as Kaveri Water Management Authority and Kaveri Regulation Commission. Both the things were created. Now, this Meghdadu project actually started in the year 1948. Actually, it was proposed, but this project was never executed. However, in the year 2013, this project was revived, and the project's aim is to construct a reservoir near Karnataka Tamil Nadu border. Okay, and Karnataka will store Kaveri water to for Bengaluru's drinking water, and also to generate 400 megawatt hydropower. Okay, now why Tamil Nadu is opposing it? Tamil Nadu is opposing it majorly because Karnataka may hold back water. That is the first reason, especially during crucial months of June to September. Okay, next, if this project comes, then Karnataka will control the flows of the river. Okay, and this will affect the irrigation requirements of the farmers. Okay, and there is a history of non-compliance by Karnataka, especially during very poor rainfall years. So Tamil Nadu is insisting that no constructions of this project should begin without Tamil Nadu's consent, as well as Kaveri Water Management Authority's approval. Okay, so that is what Tamil Nadu is telling. Also, there is some environmental and procedural issues are also there. The first one is environmental is this project will submerge nearly 5,000 hectares. Mostly they are forests and wildlife habitats. The second one is Environment Ministry has not has actually refused to give clearance for environmental impact assessment studies because citing the reason as interstate dispute. The latest development why it was in news now is now Karnataka has prepared a revised project report. Okay, and Tamil Nadu has challenged that project in the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court has said that the TN's challenge now is very premature. Okay, and so this has allowed the CWC as well as the Kaveri Water Management Authority to examine the revised proposal submitted by the Karnataka. Okay, so it is purely in the technical review stage. Okay, this is what you should be knowing in this article. Okay, the next article is why did India's trade deficit widen in October? Okay, this article we have discussed in detail like 2 days back, so you can revise there. I have given what are the reasons clearly, and also what are the steps forward that the government has already taken, and what steps should be further taken upon. All these things are already discussed in detail. The next article for the day is are EKYC norms excluding MNREGA workers. Okay, why this was in news? First of all, we should know the data. Around 26 crore population are covering in 2.69 lakh gram panchayats are dependent on these MNREGA. Okay, and recently, especially between October and November, around 27 lakh population workers were deleted. Okay, and this is more higher than the addition of workers in MNREGA. That is why this is in news. EKYC, NMMSS, then Aadhaar based payment system, all these things are added, and this coincides with this deletion. That is why this was in news. Okay, the digital reforms, these are meant for bringing in transparency, but what this article is telling us, it is instead creating exclusion of workers. Okay, this national monitoring system requires geotagging of photos twice a day. Okay, and this Aadhaar based payment system also requires no issue with regards to Aadhaar, bank and NPCI linkage. But due to this connectivity issues or demographic mismatches like and name spelling errors, all these things are adding to these problems. Okay, and sometimes genuine workers are losing wages and they are getting deleted from the system. Okay, and that is the first point. Next, the government denies this coincidence. Rather, they say that we have clearly established the standard operating procedure for deletion, and they say that if at all, if they are going to delete any worker from the list, their names will be first published. Okay, and they will also have the time to file for appeals. Okay, so when there is a standard operating procedure, what the government says is these are genuine deletions and there is no exclusion of the original or genuine beneficiaries. Left wing extremism division separately. That is the first point. The second one, they are providing financial support system to the states. Okay, to the states to fortify the police stations. Okay, then the third one is they are providing welfare measures like PDS, Anganwadi centers. All these are promoted through forward security camps. Then they also recruit local Bastar fighters. They are recruited because they have a well knowledge of the terrain of that area and local language. So they know these terrain and local language and they are recruiting these local Bastar fighters. And the recent one is this 2025 they launched an operation known as Operation Kahar. This Kahar is targeting the leadership. Okay, targeting the leadership and eliminating them. So this is the multi-pronged approach that is taken in this time. The next article is yes, this is the photo shot of the day where you can see this Tiger's Nest Monastery. Okay, it is in the Bhutans, especially with respect to the Vajrayana Buddhism. Okay, and that's why I took this one. And the other thing is this year, and this is the first ever global peace prayer festival. Okay, and here you have to know this, all the spiritual leaders from all three distinct schools of Buddhism participated, that is Mahayana, Theravada and Vajrayana. All the three schools participated in this global peace prayer festival. Sometimes in a prelims you may get a question that only any particular school participated, but rather here it is not so. All the three schools participated in this festival. This is the 28-point peace plan. Okay, it is a draft given by US. Russia is demanding this entirety of this Luhansk, Donetsk, then Zaporizhia, then Kherson. Okay, all these are being demanded by Russia, and the point is around 20% of Ukraine's territory is now controlled by Russia. Okay, and meanwhile you should also know the countries that are surrounding. They are nothing but Belarus, Poland, Romania, Moldova, okay, and Russia. So these are the countries that are surrounding, and you should also know this Black Sea. Okay, and this is Sea of Azov, and this Odisha is a seaport of Ukraine, and this Dnipro, Kharkiv, all these were in news, and Kyiv is the capital of Ukraine. The next place is in news is Nigeria. Why it was in news? Because there was mass kidnapping happened in the school. Around 300 students and teachers were kidnapped from a particular school in Nigeria. First we will look into the countries that are surrounding it. They are Chad, Cameroon, Niger, Benin. Okay, these are the countries that are surrounding Nigeria, and here if you look, this is known as Gulf of Guinea, River Niger and River Benue. Between Chad and Nigeria you can see this Lake Chad. With this we come to the end of the session. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you all.